lot going on. Had the Monday night game, a doozy, went to overtime. Buccaneers tied it late. Could have gone for the win. They did not. They went to overtime. Baker Mayfield and the Bucs lose the coin toss and then lose the game on a Kareem Hunt touchdown plunge in overtime. So the Chiefs are still 8-0. But I leave this hour from the drama that is Jerry's World. How about them Cowboys? Yes, that's right. Miserable season. Dallas losing again on Sunday to Atlanta. So your Cowboys find themselves at 3-5 on the season, and the bad news piling up like pancakes at a mom-and-pop breakfast shop as a lot of news piling up for the Cowboys here. If you have not been following, we have learned that the Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, he gone. He's expected to miss multiple games with a hamstring injury. Oh, my hammy went whammy. Yeah, that's what happened. So we are told Prescott is in the process of getting a second opinion and maybe a third and a fourth opinion and just keep going there. And once all of that is finalized, likely sometime later on here on Tuesday, the Cowboys will consider whether or not to put Dak Prescott on injured reserve. Now, if that happens, hang on. Dak will be out until December 9th against the Bengals. That's when he would be eligible to return. The immediate issue, though, is that the Cowboys have to play their blood rival, the Philadelphia Eagles, this weekend. And that means the rush is on. Cooper Rush has been elevated to a penthouse on the Upper East Side. He will be the starting quarterback for the Cowboys this weekend. So let us discuss the question. Does this Dak Prescott injury change the trajectory of the Cowboys season? Does it change it? So my observations, I have AC/DC, Nick at Night, and remote control. And we will combine all of these things together, and we will make a sleeping bag, which is what the gamblers that bet all of their money on the Cowboys to make the playoffs, to go on a playoff run, to win the Super Bowl, they'll need a sleeping bag to sleep in. So does this Dak Prescott injury change the trajectory of the Cowboys season? My first thought, as we like to call it, number one. Yes. So the silver lining playbook for the Cowboys here is obvious. It doesn't change a damn thing. The injury does not change the course of the Cowboys season. If you are a little slow, maybe you're on the spectrum, and you haven't been paying attention, Dallas is in a little village called Suckville. And the fact that Dak Prescott got hurt does not mean they're relocating out of Suckville. They're going further in to the town of Suckville is where they're going. That's most likely the case. The soundtrack for this Cowboys season is an AC/DC classic, Highway to Hell. That's the Dallas Cowboys here, and we're just documenting everything that's gone wrong. So just so we're on the same wavelength here, Dak Prescott has been a net negative. He has not been a net positive. He's been a net negative this season. What is my evidence? The numbers don't lie. Dak Prescott is the 23rd-ranked quarterback in the NFL. He got one of those Bafo-Sacco contract extensions. He hasn't earned it. And even those numbers are misleading. Now, over the years, we have nicknamed Dak Prescott the Stat Bandito. He earns that because in garbage time, whether the Cowboys are way ahead or this season way behind, he has inflated statistics. Low-information fans, the dummies amongst us that watch football, think he's better than he is. Now, this year's a great example. Dak isn't even that good this year. He's the 23rd-ranked quarterback in the NFL. What have I told you, though? This is kind of information that will blow your mind. You don't get this during the day because they don't bother doing it during the day, but we can do it at night. Over 20%, 21.4% of Dak's passing yards have come in lopsided games where the Cowboys are getting blown out. Over 20% of his passing yards. How about this? He's got 11 touchdown passes, 5 of the 11, so 45.4% of Dak Prescott's touchdown passes have come in games the Cowboys are getting absolutely shredded. So almost 50% of his touchdown passes and over 20% of his passing yards are fugazi, is what they are. Now, the other issue is Dak is 31, and As we point out, in the real world of life, 31 is not old, but in the sporting life, your athletic prime ends at 32. So Dak will be out. He's certainly a lot of things, but one thing he is the I word, injury prone. His home away from home is the tent. He loves the injury tent. Now, what is my evidence? Since 2020, I'm not even going, there's other injuries. I can go back prior to 2020, but the cutoff is 2020. Since 2020, Dakota Prescott has missed games with a dislocation and fracture of his right ankle. Remember that gnarly injury? That sucked. I think that was against the Giants. A right calf strain and a broken right thumb. Oh, my aching thumb! Yeah. So he's injury prone. This is what he does. He puts up a lot of stats that are empty stats and gets hurt. So he's, in many respects, actually lived up to the contract because that's what he did before, and he's still doing it, even though he's making more money. All right, now page 2. Mike McCarthy, the well-fed head coach of your Dallas Cowboys there, Mike McCarthy gave Cooper Rush the Hawk Tua treatment, if you know what I mean. Put on the old knee pads there for his quarterback, singing the praises, saying that he is a respected backup. In fact, according to McCarthy, and I think he said this as a straight man, but maybe not, Mike McCarthy said that Cooper Rush is in the same category in terms of backups as Rich Gannon back, I guess this goes back to the late 90s. I know, not even late. I guess it's probably early 90s, late 80s with the Kansas City Chiefs when Rich Gannon was the backup there. So, question for the esteemed panel. What needs to happen for Dallas with Cooper Rush? What needs to happen to succeed? Like, what do they have to do? Well, obviously, Cooper Rush has got to play well. But what the Cowboys need here is a rerun. And every team that has a quarterback that gets hurt is looking for the same thing. They want to go Nick at night. And I'm not talking about Nickelodeon. I'm talking about Nick Foles. That is the standard, right? Nick Foles, marginal, crappy quarterback in Philadelphia. Carson Wentz got hurt, and he put the entire franchise on his back and led Philadelphia to not only the Super Bowl and then beat the mighty Tom Brady. Outplayed Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. And in that playoff run, Nick Foles, Nick at night, had 6 touchdown passes and 1 interception. Even caught, remember that, the Philly special, he caught that touchdown in the Super Bowl. Had almost 1,000 yards passing in the playoffs in that 2017 postseason run. So the Cowboys, though, even though Cooper Rush has started 6 games and won 5 of them, there's other variables, meaning that the defense was pretty good at that time. They did not allow in any of those games, I think, more than 20 points. And the Cowboys did not score any more than 25 points in any of Rush's starts. So he gets the opportunity. Now, final point. We pivot away from the Cowboys, and we head now to La La Land. It is a big day today, as you know, and you probably heard a lot about over recent days. It is the NFL trade deadline today. I know, you're so excited. When will the madness end? All those commercials on TV for the NFL trade deadline. But today's the day. Last-minute shopping. Now, I don't know why they have an NFL trade deadline. They should just have people trade right up until the playoffs start. I don't see the point in it, but they have had this. It's grandfathered in. So with that as the backdrop, Jim Harbaugh, the head coach that wears the khaki pants for the Chargers, Jim Harbaugh says that the Los Angeles Chargers of Inglewood do not need to upgrade the wide receiver position. So it sounds like a coping mechanism to me, because one thing I know on this side of the microphone is absolutely the Chargers need to do something. You got to keep up with the Joneses is what you have to do. You've got a top-notch defense. The AFC, even though Kansas City's 8-0, I look around, I'm like, well, you could see a scenario where the Chiefs lose a playoff game. Mahomes doesn't play well, turns the ball over a couple times, and they just have a bad day and they lose. There's no one that is invincible, is what I'm trying to say. But if you look around, all of the contemporaries in the AFC, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bills, what do they all have in common? They made a move. And they all made moves for receivers. We saw DeAndre Hopkins catch a couple of touchdown passes for the Chiefs in the game Monday night. And Deontay Johnson, who I don't think's all that good, but he was traded to Pittsburgh. He was sent there, to the Ravens, rather. Former Steeler went to the Ravens. And the Buffalo Bills picked up Amari Cooper from Cleveland, repackaged. So 3 wide receivers, even the Jets, who aren't good, they're worse than the Chargers, they made a move for Devontae Adams. And Jim Harbaugh knows how this works. He also knows who he works for. The Spanos family, tightwads, notoriously cheap. They don't want to pick up any salary. They don't want to do that. And God forbid you trade draft picks. And so Jim Harbaugh's like, what I want to do is I want to grab the remote control and I want to hit the volume button. I want to turn the volume down. I want to lower expectations because it's probably not going to happen. The Chargers have the 21st ranked passing offense in the NFL. 21, which is not good. I never played in the NFL, but that's not good. Ladd McConkey, who's like a good maybe number 3 receiver, is masquerading at the top there with Joshua Palmer and Quentin Johnson. And these guys are just jabronis. And that's who they have at the wide receiver position. So you say, well, who are they going to get? Well, the Miami Dolphins have been eliminated. Why don't you call Miami up and say, what's it going to take to get Tyreek Hill in a Charger uniform? Make that move. That's the guy you can get. You look at teams that are terrible that have receivers. Miami is the obvious one. They foolishly gave Tyreek more money. He's on a nowhere operation. He'd love to come back and haunt the Chiefs. And if you're the Chargers, call him up. Make it happen. Get Tyreek Hill in Los Angeles. And the Dolphins will play ball because they're not going anywhere. They're done. They're cooked in Miami. Now, if you can't get him, and after that, there's not a lot there. Maybe somebody like Darius Slayton of the Giants or Michael Pittman of the Colts, someone along those lines. But there are moves to be made. There are moves to be made.